Mahi O Te Kaharoa, dated 19th of September 2021. I ngā mana, I ngā waka, I ngā hau e whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Haere mai ki tēnei, haere mai I runga e te kāranga o te rā nei, haere mai ki te tautoko o te kaupapa I tēnei rā. Haere mai, mauria mai te aroha, hei oranga, anō mō tātou katoa. Haere mai, mauria mai o koutou tini mate, tini aitua, nā mate I roto I a koutou, nā mate I roto I a mātou. Nō reira, I nā mate, haere koutou, haere koutou, haere koutou rā. Ka muhi au ki a koutou I tēnei rā, ko te kahoroa hau, ko tūmango te tupono o Ngāti Tuera me Henearo, ko rehua te tupono o Ngāti Rehua, ko Wanganui me te Wairahi o ka awa, ko Ruapehu me ona kāinga o ku maunga, ko Parikino me whakapaumahara o ku marae. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora, my name's Kaharoa. It's also Corey Bond that I'm also known as. Just like to thank you all for taking a look at the mahi that I've put together over the last year, basically, as I've travelled around doing my mahi with Haka the Beehive. First thing we want to take a look at today is Admiralty law. I'm not going to go on too much about it. It's just basically I want to tell you where I stand with it, and basically, yeah, we'll get into it more. Next thing up is implementing a centralized connecting system. People don't like those words, but we will look at how we change the wording to things as we move forward. After that is a journey of carrying the kaupapa. Once our kaupapa is solidified, is what we're going to do to carry that kaupapa. And last but not least is a very public stand, and we'll get to that at the end. Okay. Firstly, flags are the beast. People who know me know that I like to be controversial, especially with the terminologies and stuff that I use. No apologies if I offend people. Unfortunately, if you get offended, that's your problem. Especially when it comes to this, these are all opinions, and you know, opinions can always change, and I welcome anyone to try to change my opinions. Ngā mihi. Admiralty law is the beast of the sea from Revelations. The reason why I have this thought is because I had a dream. In that dream, it was a recurring dream, and I had it ever since I was young. In that dream, there was a big black wave coming from the east coast, and it was coming into my rohe in Whananaki, and it was about to engulf the entire land. And I was surfing on top of the wave, holding my koro's hand, and he was looking down, smiling at me. Now, that tells me that there is going to be a fake construct, a black wave of debt, basically, and that's coming from all the slave situations around the world, and the COVID has created a huge debt wave, and that's coming, and we're all going to be drowning in that soon. I don't know if I have to get into, I don't really want to get too much into that sort of stuff, but we know what's going to be coming, and that's a change in the economic structures on the planet, and that kind of has to happen. So the beast of the sea is Admiralty law, and it's coming upon the land. Flags are the symbols of authorized trade partners of the beast. So, to legitimize yourself within Admiralty law, you need to have a proper trading flag. I'm not trying to denigrate or lessen any of the mana of the people who chose this flag at all. However, this is the system that the flags are within. Admiralty law is the jurisdiction most destructive to the planet, as it allows no accountability to the corporations that make decisions. Now, basically, that's the reason why Mama is getting raped and pillaged from her minerals and oil and water and everything, is because corporations can basically get away with whatever they want. Essentially, let's look at Pfizer, for instance. They're the biggest. They had to have the biggest payout for criminal negligence in terms of not being able to. Anyway, Google Pfizer biggest fine paid, and it's a huge amount, but it's nothing compared to their profits, basically. And big corporations justify criminal court cases because they've got the profits, and they offset those costs. No one goes to jail. No one's a criminal. Corporation's still there, still making money. So it is this jurisdiction we need to step away from and create our own vested in the mana of our tribal ancestors, rangatira, not sovereign ancestors, as it is confirmed in the Treaty of Waitangi. Now, we can talk about that at another point. It's a big one. Flags are not a tribal construct. Trade was done fairly between two parties when it came to tribes. Third parties should not be able to reap benefit from trade unless service is provided. So, basically that's just looking at governments and everyone taking cream from the top through GST and services taxes and stuff like that. Because Lord knows that councils and centralised government like to waste money and resources. He Waka Pūtanga will protect us for a time. But once the beast arrives on land, we better be prepared and have an exit strategy. It's another one that needs a lot of discussion, because the police are letting us getting away with stuff when we fly this flag. That's great. But that's because the police work within Admiralty law. When martial law happens, yeah, killed it. So moving on. First thing I want to talk about is the gatherers, is what we've come up with a name for a centralized system. And the gatherers, I think, is a great idea, because what they do is gather bits and pieces from everywhere and bring them together and then collate, and we can see a big picture of what the collective has resource wise. Sounds very social, but we have to get social if we want to have any shit show in hell of defending ourselves from whatever's coming. And at the end of the day, what we are fighting for is the right to make our own decisions. So this is something that not only I've come up with, and this is independently. I've come up with this alongside our friends and whānau from the north, and I'm sure they're going to talk about their ideas, and I hope that we can come together and brainstorm and come up with a beautiful big picture of what these a networking group, basically dedicated and adept at communicating, who can link different communities and different groups together, and also facilitate some sort of collective decision making, especially when it comes to pooling of resources. So we need a safe and off-grid physical space which works in conjunction with other physical attributes on the land. We need an ability to hold quick referendums so that the confederations can come together and discuss and make decision making for the collective. Of course, now when I say this, your own hapu has their own right and every power vested in them to make their own independent decisions. What this is to try and create a communal aspect where it's non-threatening and incorruptible, so that we can pool our resources and have a shit show in hell of actually defending ourselves. Anyway, they're technologically efficient, so this place has got to have databases, storage servers for information, ability for closed circuit servers so that they can't be hacked from governments and that kind of thing, and keeping up with technology basically, because the public are being held back a lot of technology. Also, an efficient way to be able to clearly send messages long distance if stuff turns to shit. So that needs to be set up. I don't know about that. I'm no engineer. However, be some sort of radio system. I sound like a scientist. Next thing is a postal service, which would invigorate trade between different communities, because not all communities have the same stuff, and it would be good to share various seeds and all sorts. Also, it's a good way to actually transport people up and down to various occupations and migrate like our ancestors used to various ropu around the place to help them out and help projects, big projects and stuff like that. So, and also this group needs to have provisions for disconnection. So if we are disconnected from the world, essentially most of us here don't want to get vaccines, right? So the best defense I see about that is actually, getting away from the world and letting it do its thing for a bit. So it's about getting self-sufficient, sustainable. So that leads on to I suppose just continue here, sorry, my bad. And these facilitators, the koimahi, are they nominated? Are they elected? Are they unpaid? These are your true public servants at the end of the day, and they do it out of the goodness of their charity and their goodwill. Do they serve for certain terms? Do they have free housing for family and living costs, and what sort of benefits do they actually get from this role? So yeah. Moving on, this is called Hou, which means new in Māori, H-O-U. It also is an anagram for healing our unity. It's something that I came up with a while back when I was frustrated when I wasn't seeing any sort of structures come up. And, a lot of people talking about removing governments but not having anything to step into, which was really quite scary. So you can see the color scheme that I came up with there. Obviously, I didn't come up with it. It's the spectrum, and it fits really nicely. Firstly, you can see in the middle, kotahi, that is corresponding to the slide from previous. It's the group that basically interconnects all the other various groups here, because One thing that I know about managing people, and especially managing people who aren't getting paid for anything and they're doing it all for manaki, basically, you need to put them into places where they feel comfortable, where they feel strong, they feel competent in the roles that they have. So basically, what this is to try and break down the roles, bring people together into the right groups, and let them go hard, basically, because Lord knows a lot of us are starting to get hoha with, no offense, the legal sides of things. That's cool, but there's a lot more to this kaupapa, really, than just law. So, yeah, what this is trying to bring people together and getting the best out of them, empowering the rangatira so that they can work in their own capacity and the things that they want to do, but then in a collective capacity so that we're all working cohesively together. In the middle, yeah, you see kotahi, the gatherers, strong communicators, collective decision makers, postal service, and they're tech savvy. Up here we've got whenua, so that's sanctuaries and papakoinga. So those are people who are builders, farmers, people who can work the land, who can sustain people. Here we have kaha. Now kaha is security. Now that's intelligence gathering, defense, digital security, legal support. So these are people, that will defend us if shit hits the fan. The next is waka, and that comes from our solar plexus, our pito, and it's our drive. And these are our tools that we use to spread our message and keep connected and get the word out. Now into mana, which is chosen in green there because it's where we get our resources and our heart and our ability to pump our veins through everything. So that's our barter economies, that's our export and import, that's our intercommunity marketplaces, resource management and distribution facilities. Next is our kaitiaki, our preservation, our supposed to have medicine there. So our child protection, our social welfare, our natural remedies, our rongoa, people who can preserve and help sustain our life. Next is our wānanga and our knowledge, our education, and that comes from, our mind and our thought processes. So this is our libraries, our research centres, our want to correct histories and apprenticeships so that the passing of knowledge is done correctly and positively. Next is the wairua, and that is our spirit, and this is to help our fellow man and ourselves to ascend basically so we can go back home. So that's the things like ascension navigation and counselling and prayer and karakia, and also doing charitable actions and goodwill out of our heart, because that's what brings us closer, if you ask me. That's why I don't get paid. So that's Ho, and I've been working on this a little while, and I'm very open to discussing it. I mean, this isn't my mahi. This has all been given to me by our creator, and I've been working with some beautiful people for a while now, and the next one is you'll see it's in blue, and it comes under the kaitiaki side of things. It's really about our child protection and our social welfare systems, because if you ask me, we're looking at the oppressed, we're looking at the downtrodden, and these people are going to need help when they decide they want to exit the system. So we need places set up so that we can heal these people. We can help them get through, basically, and I don't like to say train them, but I mean deprogram them basically out of the systems, and uh, still sounding cultish and stuff, isn't it? But it's really not. It's just through charity and goodwill, I suppose, helping people that do want to find themselves and exit the system. So this is something that I've worked with leaders of the Guardians of Innocence. They're a group that Huck of the Beehive has been working with for a long time. And we put this together over the last couple of days, and it came together really beautifully. And I really love how it looks and how it ripples out, and how much information's on it, because it is quite in depth. Now, the ideas behind it is to create a space for one. The original thing was, when we started hearing about so much child trafficking and stuff going on, was to try and find a space so that we can help and save kids that are being affected by these traumatic things. So this is a build upon on that. So it's not just an orphanage. I don't like the word orphanage, but it's somewhere where kids will be safe and taught, and um, hopefully this is recording. Um, yeah, that kids can be safe and fed and learn beautiful skills. So it's a school, it's a library, it's more than than anything that you can describe, because things like this aren't real yet, you know. Um, so in time, more kōrero will be had about this. We've called it Puti Puti Ora, or the Flower of Life, and it's basically just rebuilding our connections to our mama again, basically. And I'll leave that up there for a little bit so that people can have a look at some of the different ripples, I think is a good way to put it. Fidget spinners maybe is another way I've heard this sort of stuff described, but they are rippling out of energy, and the interconnectedness of it all. Hence all the overlapping bubbles, basically, not COVID bubbles, but beautiful bubbles. Puti puti ora. Oh, get me out of here as well for a second. So once we solidify everything, still got a little while to go, not too long, is a journey of carrying the kaupapa. So that's basically just going around the country to every community group, every church, every marae, every council building, and basically carrying our kaupapa and not being scared with it, basically, because we need to have public support, and a public groundswell, because we're not here to destroy anything, we're not here to overthrow anything. We are here to create our own parallel and away from. We actually don't need to remove the government. They'll remove themselves. But oops, I just want to go back to that. I can't. Oh well. Well, we're moving on then. Um, but just adding on to that a little bit, because during my travels with Huck of the Beehive up and down the country is when I met really beautiful people and really did some amazing connections, and um, I can't say enough how important it is to whakawhanaungatanga and meet people face to face up and down the country, because it is one country and we're trying to unify it, and you can't really do it from a computer screen or an iPhone. You really have to actually go and connect. So my journey ended up here. I walked from Cape Reinga to pretty much Kirikiri. I walked around 250 k's. I'd like to do a bit more as we continue doing haka. Maybe I'll pick it up again and do Kirikiri through to Auckland properly, but it'd be good to have some homies next time. But it was awesome, and I met some amazing people along the way, and I ended up here at Murukaikuru, the occupation down there at Shelley Bay, and with the whānau down there. Met some amazing people. Spent some time on the occupation. Wish I spent more time down there with the occupation, but that will come to light soon. So this is the public stand I want to talk about, and it's basically, you know, occupations aren't getting enough media coverage. Now I'm talking in your face. So over here is the beehive, just off the screen there a little bit. It's not that far away. I mean, you could row waka from the occupation there if you wanted to, if we held all our wakas up there. And then I thought that would be a great idea. It'd be awesome. All the waka all turning up right on the beach of Parliament and, you know, rumbling up to the beehive. One day that'll happen. Like I keep saying, why do we keep on inviting them all up to Waitangi all the time? Why don't we go down to them and take our hara to them, basically, instead of inviting them in all the time and let them cook our bacon and eggs for us every year. Thank you for that, Jacinda, giving us pork again. So this is the occupation site of Mai Whenua. You know, it's just the usual phone calls. It's just the usual, you know, iwi disputes with trusts and, you know, corporations. And you know, the good thing about the Mai Whenua occupation is that it's known quite well locally. It's got good support down there, but it does need a national support. Like Umato, I suppose, but even still, that wasn't really national support. It was only, I don't even know what it was, but it didn't really work. Occupations haven't been working. They've just only been working, I suppose, sorry, really against our favour. Because at the end of the day, let's look at it like this. If Taranaki Whānui was to win the occupation and then the Wellington Company said, oh, nah, or whatever, well then, who's actually winning? People still aren't winning here. You know, iwis and trust systems, they're just corporations still. They're still within the Admiralty law, aren't they? So, yucky. So moving on, we want to make the occupation bigger. So this is all a big beautiful peninsula where pretty much all of Wellington can see it. There's a big flagpole up on top of Miramar Peninsula there. I suggest a new flag be flown up upon there of this occupation, not a flag of Admiralty law. So, get me out of the way again. Up here is Crawford Prison. At the moment, it's not really abandoned. Well, it kind of is. It's not being used, but you know, there's a lot of homeless people. There's a lot of hardship in Wellington, and you know, why can't we help with the charity and goodwill? You know, if we're able to go and live in this prison, occupy it. You know, there's a lot of bunks in there. There's a lot of beds in there. We can actually look after people. I know it's a horrible thought with the prison, and you know, a lot of people have been hurt and killed on top of that hill. But you know, that's how we transmute things. It's how we change situations. So you know, that's what I think is an awesome idea, is to actually go and occupy that prison. That's a fort. and it's also very easy to defend. Moving up the hill a bit more is the ancient Pā site out of Mai. I don't know what it's called. Maupuia is the area, is the rohe. But there's plenty of sites for shelters, grazing paddocks, room for gardens, gun turrets for buildings and stuff like that. And it's very sheltered. For some reason, those ancient Māori knew where to pick their Pā sites. Like Wellington's extremely windy. If you were down on the bottom of the hill, it would be windy as. Go up on top of the hill, and there's no wind. Very interesting. So, you know, ancestors are saying no mai hara mai, basically. So basically, we want to get numbers. We want to go and do this. We've got a bit of support in terms of Māori Rangers and that kind of thing, but basically, we want to go hard, so the whole nation starts to see what the hell's going on and why there's so many infallacies in this country. So that's my final thing to present. Thank you for listening to me. I can't believe that went on for half an hour. I do apologise. Yep, we'll finish up. Please get in touch with me. Haka the Beehive. I'm not going to put my number here, but you guys will find me and see if we can talk about these things that I put to the table. I am ready, I am waiting, and I am willing to put these things in place, basically. Ngā mihi koutou, kia ora. We'll just finish with a karakia. Oh, there's some pine for building through there too if we want to build houses. So yeah. Karakia whakamutunga. Āpiti hono, tātai hono, rātou te honga, wairo ki a rātou. Āpiti hono, tātai hono, tātou te honga ora kia tātou hurinoa, hurinoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.